Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Joanne. I'm a lawyer learner. Thank you for joining me here. With this Barilaro thing's getting more and more interesting. So it's Thursday night and tomorrow he's back facing the inquiry again. Must watch. I'll put the link to the inquiry in my community tab. But there's been a couple of things that have happened. So let's just share this. So we know that he was part of the Coronation Property Development Group. Building Commissioner resignation letter reveals concerns about Minister and Barilaro. The resignation of New South Wales Building Commissioner David Chandler has revealed he had concerns. Yes, he had concerns. About the relationship between the then Fair Trading Minister, Alani Patinas, and the property development group that hired former Deputy Premier John Barilaro. The confidential letter, which has been provided to the corruption watchdog, was released under parliamentary order on Thursday. It outlined a litany of Chandler's concerns, including his problematic engagement with Patino's office, which influenced his decision to resign. Now, I believe that this matter's gone to ICAC, so it looks like Barilaro may have another ICAC visit. In his letter to Department Secretary Emma Hogan, dated July 7, Chandler describes concerns they have with the advised relationship of the Minister and Coronation Property Group. As advised to you, I received a call from the Minister's office shortly after the draft order was issued on Coronation's Marylands Department, the letter said. Shortly after that call, a message was sent to me by John Barilaro, who I was advised had recently joined the Coronation Board. This contact came to me as a message on my personal phone requesting a meeting with me. Chandler said he copied the message to Hogan and later met Barilaro to answer his questions. A separate record of that meeting exists, he wrote. Chandler also pointed to the challenges that faced the New South Wales residential apartment industry when he entered the job in 2019 as frankly horrible. Turning around the brand of New South Wales residential apartment market is now a stage where demonstrable public confidence has been lifted, the letter said. The Building Commissioner also described the difference in his engagement with the Minister's office since a ministerial reshuffle last year resulted in Patinas taking over the portfolio from now Hospitality Minister Kevin Anderson. Alas, the same level of engagement has not been experienced since. My personal experience has been one where the engagement with the Minister's office has been problematic, he wrote. Given where all the matters now rest, I believe my continued role as New South Wales Building Commissioner is no longer viable. So we've got the full document here. Here is the full letter. I know some of you are saying, oh, you could edit this part out. I could, but I like to do things as a little bit live so you can see it. So this is the actual letter. Look at this. So that is the actual letter. Chandler said other officers in the department had reported similar experiences, and important pieces of previously canvassed legislation now had to run into serious disruption. The New South Wales opposition used upper house orders to compel the government to release the letter after it was revealed that Patinas met representatives from a property development company that employed Barilaro. Both Patinas and Barilaro have issued statements saying that Barilaro was not in attendance at the June 2 meeting between Patinas and Coronation Property. A second meeting with Coronation on June 21 was disclosed in her diary out of an abundance of caution, Patinas had said. Barilaro said on Tuesday he didn't work for the company on June 21, and the pair met to celebrate his job as Trade Commissioner to the US. Chandler resigned abruptly last month, despite having recently signed a contract extension. As an industry veteran of 50 years, he was tasked with the 2019 cleaning up the New South Wales construction industry as the state's first building commissioner. His sudden resignation prompted speculation over the circumstances of his department amid scrutiny over the conduct of recently dumped Patinas, whom he reported. Premier Dominic Perrottet on Wednesday revealed that during question time that Chandler's resignation letter was sent to the Secretary of the Department of Customer Service, who referred it to the Independent Commission Against Corruption on August 1. He said he only learnt that the letter had been referred to the corruption watchdog late on Tuesday night. Perrottet has maintained the sacking of Patinas was unrelated to Chandler's resignation. When he resigned, Chandler said in a statement he felt the time was right for a reset, but remained firmly committed to working with the department until the end of his tenure in November. I do not want my resignation to distract people from what has been achieved so far and the work that is still to be done. Opposition spokeswoman for better regulation and innovation, Courtney Heuris, said the Premier needed to explain how he could have been briefed by Hogan about Patina's conduct and not know about Chandler's concerns in the resignation letter. So this is the timeline. So late February, Braz starts as Executive Director of Coronation Property. 8th of April, a stop work order was issued to the builder attached to Coronation site in Marylands. David Chandler receives a call from the then Minister Elena Patinas afterwards. November, April, Building Commissioner meets with Barilaro. 2nd of June, Patinas meets with Coronation Property. 21st of June, Patinas meets with Barilaro to celebrate his new job. June 22, Patinas asks Department Secretary Emma Hogan to review the allegations Chandler misled Parliament and create an informal list of certifiers he provided to banks. He was cleared. July 4th, the stop work order on Coronation Maryland's website is lifted. July 7, Chandler's resignation letter to Hogan. July 27, Chandler is cleared of wrongdoing. The allegations unsubstantiated. July 29, bullying allegations against Patinas. July 29, Perrottet says Chandler's resignation is unrelated to claims against Patinas. July 31, Patinas is sacked by the Premier, and August 1, Chandler's letter is sent to ICAC. It is incredibly important we understand why Minister Patinas was sacked in the first place by the Premier. We need the Premier to explain how he could be briefed by the Secretary of Department of Customer Service the night before he sacked Minister Patinas about the very issue that were the basis for the sacking, and the same person who sent the letter off to ICAC, that they didn't raise the concerns with him. So then we've got this one. This is about the inquiry. Now, don't forget Barilaro is facing the inquiry tomorrow. This is great. So they've released a series of text messages. I have a feeling she's going to have to come back again. So she's been back 4 times now. So new documents also shows independent review commissioned by New South Wales Premier doesn't have the power to probe actions of ministers. So it's an arm's length investigation. Convenient, right? So the independent inquiry launched by the New South Wales Premier to probe the appointment of John Barilaro to a lucrative New York trade job doesn't have the power to examine the actions of government ministers, the new documents reveal. The latest documents released to the Parliament on Wednesday also reveal that the head of investment in New South Wales, Amy Brown, responded to news an upper house inquiry had been launched into Barilaro's appointment in June by writing, "This isn't great." The backlash to the New York trade appointment became a major distraction for the Perrottet government after it was announced in late June. While the state's upper house launched the inquiry, Perrottet commissioned another independent review by former Public Service Commissioner Graham Head. Head's findings are yet to be finalised, but Stuart Ayres last week resigned as the Deputy Liberal Party leader and from Cabinet over concerns that he may have breached the Ministerial Code of Conduct in his interactions with Brown over the appointment. Ayres denied this. At the time, Perrottet said Ayres resigned after being shown draft excerpts from Head's report, which were outside the terms of reference. In the statement at that time, the Premier acknowledged that Head's review does not extend to whether Mr Ayres had complied with the Ministerial Code of Conduct. Documents tabled in Parliament now confirm the former Public Service Commissioner does not have the power to examine ministerial actions. Head was appointed to run the probe under a section of the Government Services Act, which allows him to use coercive powers to run investigations into public servants or contractors. Perrottet has repeatedly said he's waiting for the findings of the Head review, which was originally due on the 15th of August and then 15th of July, then the 5th of August, before making a formal response to Saga. However, emails released to the Parliament make clear Head is not able to examine the actions of the ministers, and while Perrottet announced on Tuesday that Senior Silk Bruce McClintock, SC, has been appointed to lead a separate review into Ayres, that will be the focus of his actions alone. After a request from the Premier's office to the Department of Premier and Cabinet in July for background information about the head inquiry to provide to the media, agency staff discussed whether to include information about what he was not empowered to do. Is there a form of words that we can add on the background that describes what the inquiry isn't, i.e. it doesn't have the power to examine ministerial conduct, a staffer wrote? A colleague replied that the statement could emphasise that the inquiry may only inquire into matters relating to the administration of a government secretariat sector agency. The documents also show that senior public servants were concerned about the upper house inquiry. This isn't great. So upper house or old inquiry into Barilaro's Plum, New York appointment. This isn't great. No, but utterly predictable. On the 20th of June, Brown sent a text to the Department of Premier and Cabinet Secretary Michael Coates-Trotter after the probe was launched in late June with a link to the media article about the inquiry. This isn't great, she wrote. Coates-Trotter responded, no, but utterly predictable. The text showed Brown asked to talk it through with Coates-Trotter. Of hiring Barilaro, she wrote, technically, it was my decision. So what does technically mean? Another early exchange between the pair shows Perrottet and the Deputy Premier, Peter Toole, said they were comfortable with the decision to give Barilaro the job. FYI, I've been told the Premier and DP are comfortable with the appointment of Barilaro as Senior Trade Commissioner to the Americas and requested to get on with the formalising the arrangements, Brown wrote in a message to Coates-Trotter on 6 May. Rightio, he said. This comes as the Upper House Committee probing the appointment released a report on Wednesday that shows the Chief Commissioner of the state's Independent Commission Against Corruption had said it was considering some of the evidence heard in the inquiry. The report said Peter Hall QC had written to the committee and told it the watchdog was considering the information given to it after Jenny West, the woman first offered the job, gave evidence that Brown had told her the job would be a present for someone. Brown denied saying that. The report also asked the committee has referred a leak of secret evidence given to the inquiry by Brown to the Parliament's Privileges Committee. The leak, which related to West, described in the report as undoubtedly a contempt of Parliament. The Upper House is set to resume on Friday when Barilaro will give evidence for a second time. So we've got some interesting developments all before. I mean, there's so much here to unpack. So, you've got the Premier saying he should have told Barilaro not to apply for the job. Hindsight's a really interesting thing. What I don't understand is that how nobody actually realised that it was an issue, and that's the thing that I can't I can't reconcile is how it didn't look dodgy. We refer to the pub test. It was not going to pass the pub test. We know that. Anyway. I think they took Australians. I think they took people for fools, and when things we aren't are fools. Anyway, I want to thank you for watching today. Please make sure you hit like and subscribe. Think about channel membership. If you want to support the channel, you can in any way. That's all listed below. And look, we'll see what we'll find out tomorrow. Grab your popcorn, grab some coffee, and we'll watch Barilaro give more evidence. I'll catch you then. Bye for now.